MLS Aces Podcast, episode 203. This is your host, Tom Sweezy. I am joined by the surprising Whitecaps jersey tonight with Vaughn Pullman. Vaughn, how are you, bud?
I'm doing well. Yeah. For all the listeners out there and all the people watching, I'm going the reverse psychology route this time. I am all in on Vancouver. They're going all the way. Sporting, they're gonna whip them 5-0. It's gonna be great.
You know, I respect it. I honestly do. Any way you can try to throw the powers out there in the universe of your team, just getting that edge, respect it 100%. So if that's,
it's pure odds, right? The team I usually root for doesn't win it, so might
so
as
let's
well
go
go
Caps,
all in on
baby.
Vancouver.
No, look, I get it. It's a smart decision. But we are back. It's another episode of the podcast. The podcast is going to be coming regularly. I feel like I said that 2 weeks ago, but if you guys didn't see on social media, life has been a little hectic for me. So getting kind of things together in my brain in one spot, especially talking about soccer, hasn't always been there the past month or so. So apologize about that. But it's MLS Cup playoffs time. It's the best time of the year. The US just got a nice window. Mexico got a 0-point window in World Cup qualifying. What could be better right now? But before we dive into the soccer talk and everything like that, I definitely just want to have a few show notes. First of all, that this show is brought to you guys by Soccer 90. If you guys don't know what Soccer 90 is, it is your one-stop shop for everything soccer apparel related, from jerseys, scarves, hat, jackets, t-shirts, everything you can possibly think of. Soccer 90 is your number one go-to store that you guys are going to be using, because it is our number one go-to store. So if you go to soccer90.com, search Soccer 90 on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it may be, go to their store online, and you guys can get a nice little discount if you use promo code MLSAces and buy whatever you want, from MLS, NWSL, clubs over in Europe, whatever it may be. Soccer 90 has it all. If you guys don't know, their physical store is actually located right outside the Soccer Hall of Fame down in Texas. They're affiliated with FC Dallas and everything like that. So a lot of FC Dallas stuff going on there. But if you guys want to support us, support Soccer 90 and everything like that, go online, go to soccer90.com, use promo code MLSAces, get yourself a discount, get yourself some cool stuff too, and support your club at the same exact time. Everyone wins, right? Vaughn, it has been a little bit since we've talked. We talked previewing Decision Day. Decision Day has come and passed. And also a lot of news and notes around Major League Soccer has happened. So I guess we'll save Decision Day for last. So let's kind of go into some of the major retirements that have happened. And I think the number one person we should kind of give some time to respect and show our loves to is Chris Wondolowski, the MLS legend, the all-time MLS leading goal scorer, has announced his retirement from professional soccer. He even scored in his final game for the San Jose Earthquake. So what a better tribute to Wondo than Wondo going out with a goal. Chris Wondolowski, I mean, people are calling him the GOAT. Is he the GOAT of MLS? Or what are your thoughts on Wondo?
I mean, I wouldn't call him the GOAT, the greatest of all time. His records will eventually get passed, I think. But I don't know that we'll see another figure like him in the league. Somebody that, really didn't start taking off. Wasn't his first MLS goal when he was like 27 years old? Like,
it was later into his 20s when he first started really scoring.
I mean, a guy that comes on so late in his career and is able to stick it out with one team and just kind of withstand the test of time, right? Like, it's not going to be normal, I think, for many players to have 10 plus year stints with clubs.
Yes.
So yeah, Wondo is one of those. It's almost like an MLS relic, right? Like, I feel like there's going to come a time where he's like the Ty Cobb of MLS lore, right? Like,
yeah.
People are going to know his name. I never watched Ty Cobb play, but man, what a legend. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
No, Wondolowski, all credit to him. I've said some not so nice things about him. I
Everyone has.
Yeah, I mean, the U.S. men's national team miss right on the goal line in the World Cup. That's the one that sits with me. But hey, for all of his other goals that he's had and everything he meant to that franchise, no, incredible career. Credit to him, and he's definitely a figure that I'll miss in MLS.
I think kind of calling him like that lore piece of MLS is actually a really good comparison, right? Because in a day and age of, young superstars like a Ricardo Pepi, or even a few years ago, right, a South American talent like Miguel Almiron, everyone's going to remember Josef Martinez, Zlatan, all that stuff, right? Chris Wondolowski is like, he's just spanning that test of time. He's wearing the baggy jersey. He got started late, like you said, but at the end of the day, he's going to be remembered in the record books. He's going to be remembered as one of the best strikers to ever play the game within Major League Soccer, and that's just really cool. Like honestly, at the end of the day, like if you're a professional soccer player, if you're a Cade Cowell, someone like that, right, you have to look up and learn so much from Chris Wondolowski. And just for those, I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, watching this show on Twitch or YouTube or whatever it may be, you know who Chris Wondolowski is, but just to kind of put it in perspective, Chris Wondolowski is a two-time MLS Cup champion, a two-time Supporter Shield winner. He's won 2 Golden Boots in his career, 3-time Best 11 player. He's been an MLS MVP, 5-time MLS All-Star, 181 goals in all competitions, spanning over 448 games between San Jose and the Houston Dynamo. Like, Chris Wondolowski is a legend. Like, absolutely love him. I've said my bad things about him, but I think, even at some point, I'm sure he can look back at it and laugh upon all of that because he's sitting in the record books at the end of the day. So congratulations to Chris Wondolowski. It'll be sad. I think he can come back for 2022 and at least put three goals in. I think he had 5 this year, so I think he could do at least half that next year, but it's okay. I understand people gotta take their steps away from the game. But another absolute MLS legend, and a lot of his numbers, this next player's numbers as well, it's really surprised me, announced his retirement from professional soccer after this season. That's Justin Morrow. So Justin Morrow, left back for Toronto FC for a long, long time, also had a nice long stint with San Jose. Really has been a part of some special MLS clubs, being one of the most sturdy and probably arguably one of the best left backs or fullbacks in MLS history over his entire career, right? Just for the amount of games he's played in MLS and the quality that he played all those games in. It's incredible really to kind of take a look at Justin Morrow and just show the leader he was on and off the field for Toronto and for San Jose. I mean, is there anything that kind of sticks out to you about Justin Morrow in specific?
I mean, I think his legacy is going to be his involvement in the foundation of the Black Players for Change.
Yeah.
You mentioned his on-field and his off-field stuff. Morrow, that's one of those things that I think people in the know and people that, what his legacy is going to be, 10 years from now, right? We're probably not going to be talking a whole bunch about Justin Morrow, but I think that's going to be the legacy piece that's left behind. And something that is the most meaningful from his career. And I think his role, because I don't want to say his position. I think it was executive director.
I'm not exactly sure his position. I know he was one of the leaders within the Black Players.
Right. He was like the head honcho of the organization.
Okay.
So whatever his title was, I think his involvement in that and his role in that is going to mean so much for the next generation of players. We'll see the ripple effect of that probably through the rest of the league's history, and possibly across other sports as well. So for me, that was the biggest contribution from Morrow. Outstanding career. Definitely another one of those guys that you look at and it's like, man, 334 games. Holy cow. I mean,
that's a lot.
That's a lot of games, and especially for his position. Somebody that I'll miss seeing in the league for sure.
I can completely agree with you, and I'm sure he is going to, off the field of the Black Players for Change. I'm sure he's going to kind of continue his role there, be a major part of it. Obviously, he has a lot of connections within this league. He's been a part of this league for a while. I'm sure he will do his part and still stay a part of that, connected players, executives, whatever it may be. And then, kind of like we said on the field, over 300 games in any sport. I think is a ridiculous amount of games. And he did it for so long, like I said, doing it at a high level, won a ton of trophies. I really can just remember him being one of those like standout pieces on those TFC teams, that treble TFC team and everything like that. So really another major congratulations to Justin Morrow and to Chris Wondolowski again on their retirements, their efforts they did on and off the field, and the legends that they are going to go down for with the Earthquakes and with Toronto FC, respectively there. So the last piece of, I guess, kind of MLS news that I quickly wanted to roll into is the big news that dropped today of Bob Bradley out at LAFC. Talk about a dude who knows how to win and been around MLS for a while. That's Bob Bradley, right? Won a Supporter Shield with LAFC, 142 games managed for the club across all competitions, 68 wins, 32 draws, and 42 losses to his name. Vaughn, this wasn't one of the best kept secrets going around Major League Soccer that there was a good chance Bob wasn't going to return to LAFC in 2022. I guess we can look at it in two ways, right? Bob and then the club itself. Let's start with the club. Where did the club go from here, right? Because replacing Bob Bradley, especially as their first ever manager in club history, is not going to be an easy task. I feel like they have to go out and, it's LA, right? You got to do it big, and I feel like you have to get a name.
Well, it's style, it's identity, it's culture, it's all those things that LAFC stood out for. A lot of that was because of the on-field product, right? And the project of what was being built there. Bob Bradley was obviously instrumental in establishing that, and what the team did in 2019 was incredible. There's not a lot of MLS teams ever that have played that well. So, for the club, it's going to be very interesting to see what's their next move, right? Who's that person that can come in and can they continue that style? Like, are they following the same philosophy? Is there a new route that they're going to go? What's the next era of this club? And beyond that, it's also for me. I talk about how important consistency is in this league, right? And before we jumped on here, we were talking about, I think this is like the 8th or 9th head coaching position that's open in MLS right now. I mean, the number of teams that have coaches that have been in their spot for more than 3 seasons is like, no joke, like 3 or 4 guys.
And you can name them off the top of your head, right? Like you can name the
Vermes, Curtin. Does it stop there? There's just not a lot. So, that's going to be the thing for LAFC is, can they find somebody that can give them another solid 4 years? Can they find their 15-year guy? Or are they going to be the same as the rest of the league now, where every 2 to 3 years there's a revolving door? It's going to be interesting to see how they go through that, second or third iteration of the club. Because you could argue they're already in their second iteration of the club.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm curious to see what plays out here.
So, I mean, coming from the club, right, I think you said consistency and kind of following up with what they've had is big and key, right? Even when these Bob Bradley LAFC teams weren't at their best, there was a reason why people kept on picking them to win games and make the playoffs and do so well, because there was a ton of talent on this team. And at the end of the day, Bob Bradley on that sideline gives you a chance week in and week out, no matter how your team's playing, to win the game. He is that good of a head coach. He is, one of the best head coaches we've ever produced within the American soccer game, right? So that alone is going to be tough to follow up. And I do feel like you have to pull someone who is a name who people are going to know out there in Los Angeles, but at the same exact time, I don't want them to, do a Frank de Boer and get a guy who's just tactically like not sound, right? I know I'm going to say this as a joke, but Tata Martino might be available after a few more games with Mexico. I love to see it. It'd be fantastic, especially the success he had with Atlanta. Don't know if that's actually realistic, but a name I honestly would like to see them go after is Hugo Perez. Hugo Perez, there's been reports coming out that, the El Salvador manager, if you don't know who Hugo Perez is, that he's interested in coaching within Major League Soccer. He has shown a lot of positive play with El Salvador, and I feel like that could really turn into some awesome stuff with LAFC if it works out, right? Again, I'm talking dream worlds, but there's also how many big name managers right now in free agency that I'm sure LAFC would love to have, right? The Nunos out there and the Zidane
Jurgen
out there.
Klinsmann.
Yeah. Hey, bring Jurgen in. Right. But I think it's really going to be interesting to see where LAFC goes, because with all of the open vacancies, head coaching vacancy spots within this league, I think LAFC just became the shining spot of who's going to take that over, right? Because you have an interesting club, you have ownership that wants to win, you have solid players still. So it's going to be interesting kind of who takes over there. But as far as Bob Bradley, I know, again, talking before the podcast, we were joking around a little bit, but I mean, it's lined up for Bob to go to Toronto. No.
Yeah, he's got to be going to Toronto.
I mean, you said he has a brother on Toronto. Didn't know that.
Yeah, I think his brother's in the front offices, and then obviously Michael Bradley there. I think it's like literally the worst kept secret in MLS right now, that he was going to be leaving LAFC and that he was a front runner for Toronto.
I'm shocked.
It makes a lot of sense, and I don't know exactly. Can he turn that team around and get them back to being a contender? I would love to see it personally, because I think that era where TFC was a powerhouse was pretty electric and pretty exciting. I'd love to see that happen for Toronto.
Yeah.
But Bob Bradley also, you look at it, he's third winningest manager. He's done all this great stuff. Hasn't won a title in MLS since 1998. So, can he go somewhere and make it happen? He couldn't do it in LA.
But he has gone somewhere and put an absolute beautiful product on the field from literally nothing. So, I mean, give him that credit too. But
oh yeah,
I mean, I'd love to see him honestly end up in Toronto, have him coach Michael, probably breed Michael into being the next Toronto FC manager once he decides he wants to retire, and then Bob will go do whatever Bob wants to do after a few seasons, right? But I wouldn't mind seeing, and I know that there's also reports out there that this won't happen, but I wouldn't mind seeing him go back to Chicago. Like let's get Chicago from scratch. Let's go back where he won his MLS Cup and let's build it up. Again, I know there's reports Chicago are close to I forgot his name.
Ezra Hendrickson.
Thank you, Ezra Hendrickson, former. He's a current Columbus Crew assistant manager, former Sounders assistant manager, coached Sounders 2 in the USL Championship for almost 100 games I've seen. So I know he's right now apparently reported the next Chicago Fire manager, but nothing's set in stone yet. And honestly, it's going to be interesting to see this entire coaching carousel. But Bob Bradley, I think specifically where he's going to end up next is going to be big, because we're also assuming he stays in MLS. May not. So. We'll see at that piece there. Is there any other MLS news that you want to get to before we quickly run through decision day a little bit?
I'll throw in one that I just heard in the Charlotte market. That I don't think it's actually, I know it hasn't been made public yet by MLS. But it looks like the MLS Expansion Draft is going to be December 14th. Looks like it was 7 p.m. Eastern time on the 14th. So, that was leaked by some local news here. Joe Bruno, big name guy here in Charlotte. MLS Expansion Draft, as expected, 3 days after MLS Cup. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, let's hope Charlotte can, have an expansion draft like LAFC and not like Austin FC, or at this point, or I don't know, whose was worse? Cincinnati's maybe was worse. I don't know.
Cincinnati's was worse.
But no, that's always an exciting time, right? But I guess let's quickly run through decision day, especially since decision day was 2 weeks ago. Everyone listening to this knows what's happened, but honestly, just a few interesting moments that I definitely want to bring up. And the fact that this fact is out here, that the Galaxy were in playoff position the entire season up until the last 4 minutes of their season, is incredible to me, that they didn't make the playoffs. Not that they were this good of a team that should have made the playoffs, blah, 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 but that you were in a playoff position the entire season up until the last 4 minutes and you get knocked out. That is heartbreaking, especially for what Greg Vanney did year one and completely turning around the club. Absolutely heartbreaking. But I mean, shout out to RSL for that last minute spike assist goal from Krylak to do it.
Oh, what a joke. That game was such a joke. I was so disappointed after decision day. That just ruined it for me personally. But yeah, no, LA Galaxy, it was definitely a slow burn, right? Like they came out blazing, lighting the league on fire.
Target for
Chicharito had what, like 8 goals in like 3 games?
Yeah, he was on pace for like 80 goals at one point during the season.
And then they just did the slow coast right into a soft landing out of the playoffs.
You know, it's sad, but I think they're on the right path to the full rebuild under Vanny. It's just going to take a few years, and I don't think if anyone expected Vanny to have this team playing at such a high level after 1 year, I think that's a little bit of an insane thought, to be completely honest. But it's okay. The Galaxy will be back, and we will talk about them just like everyone wants to talk about the Galaxy week in and week out. I think another big storyline from Decision Day was the Rapids absolutely demolishing LAFC 5-2 to lock up that number 1 spot in the Western Conference. Last week or 2 weeks ago, when you and I were talking, we were talking how LAFC was going to come out, they were going to win. Rapids, they weren't looking that good. We were saying Seattle definitely had the number 1 seed down. SKC was the only other team that could potentially come close. They weren't going to do it. We were not talking Rapids. And I think a lot of people weren't talking Rapids, and they shut a lot of people up, especially on Decision Day.
Yeah, I mean, they had clearly the biggest chip on their shoulder. They showed the most grit of any team on Decision Day. Like, the team's fighting to make the playoffs, teams fighting for seeding. Like, no, they set the bar. Yeah. They came out with a punishing game plan, and they did that against a team that was desperate. Now we don't know. We're saying they were desperate. Shoot, LAFC, they may have already known that Bob Bradley was out the door, right? That could have been some of what was playing out here. Was you had a coach that was checking out. You had a team that saw the writing on the wall for the coach. So heading into the postseason, heading into that end of year push and everything, like, of course you're competitive. You want to win titles. You want to make the playoffs. But when you have those other things that are happening behind closed doors, those can weigh a team's results down. And I think that we saw that a little bit where they could not keep up with Colorado, and Colorado punched them in the face. And I think that was a message for Colorado to the rest of the league of, we are here to punch you in the face. You're telling us we can't do it. You're telling us that we're not the best in this conference, or that we can't be contenders. Watch us. That's a really great mentality to go into the postseason with. They're riding a high. I'm hoping that their long break with the bye doesn't come back to bite them. But yeah, right now, Colorado, a team that I'm sure that their locker room is saying, keep doubting us and see what we can do.
And one of the things I like about this Colorado team, and I hate kind of singling out one player, especially with a team that's really, a team, it's the success is team oriented, and it's not around one superstar player. But I think back to Cole Bassett, and especially I know mid-season, there was all the reports that Cole Bassett turned down European offers because he said he wanted to win something with Colorado this season, then make his jump to Europe. I think at the time I was like, I like the mindset. I don't know if Colorado is going to win anything, but I like the mindset. Now they're really in a spot to do that, right? And I'm not saying just for Cole Bassett, but I'm saying maybe that there was this mindset around the entire locker room. Robin Fraser having these guys, playing at maybe a chip on their shoulder, underdog mentality, and now the underdog's the number 1 seed in the West, right? And you have to play through Colorado. Now you're playing through Colorado, coldest seasons of the year in the United States as well. This is going to be a nice stretch of games here for the Rapids, and I'm excited to see how they play out, right? I'm excited to see them play with this underdog mentality and this fighting mentality throughout the entire MLS Cup playoffs, because I know Robin Fraser will have this team doing that, and I really, really like that. But a lot of other teams kind of picking up big points, necessary points. A lot of draws on decision day. Vancouver at home picking up a big draw against the Sounders to kind of lock up their playoff spot, right? NYCFC, even with the red card at home, drawing to Philly 1-1. So Philly with that draw, they picked up that second seed overall in the Eastern Conference over Nashville. Nashville, they drew to Red Bulls. Nashville was at home, Red Bulls on the road. And another draw for Nashville at home hurt their chances. They dropped down to the 3 seed while the Red Bulls snuck into that last spot in the East. And Orlando, Montreal, that was another sick game on decision day. Orlando coming up big, knocking off a Montreal team that was hot. I think a Montreal team that you, me, and Jason all picked to win that game anyway. So Montreal out of the playoffs, Orlando kicking the door in, and they're saying, "Hey, we're here in this playoff run too." So it was a very fun decision day. A lot of notifications going off on my phone, a lot of eyes glued to different screens, whether it was my laptop, my TV, my cell phone, whatever it may be. But I guess, Vaughn, before we dive into kind of wrapping up the regular season, is there any decision day thoughts or moments that really stood out to you?
I mean, I think what I was trying to keep an eye on is the players that are going to be stepping up in the postseason. Yeah. Right. Like I think back to last year, and I think the team that shocked us last year was Minnesota, with Bebelo Reynoso going crazy with assists, and Kevin Molino going next level, best 11 level. Yeah. So you look around, and there's not a lot of teams that have guys that are just carrying them right now. But there were some people and some players that stood out that I could see it happening. And your NYCFC is one of them. Valentin Castellanos walking away with the Golden Boot was really something spectacular.
Yeah,
he's a really underrated guy in this league. That also, same thing, has to play with a chip on his shoulder, prove people wrong. I mean, even when he was hurt, people were talking about Hebert, right? Like Hebert was the focal point of the attack. And here comes Castellanos winning Golden Boot out of nowhere. Nobody expected this, except for maybe Ronnie Dyla, and
probably Tati.
Yeah, so I would say NYCFC and Tati was one thing that really stood out for me, and then RSL. Obviously, watching that game, Damir Kreilach is getting back to his shenanigans that he does every year leading into the postseason.
Damir Kreilach is RSL's Dyron Espria. You don't let him get hot around the playoffs, because the dude will just karate kick some shit somewhere.
Like we're going to get these bicycle kick assists, and tap ins in stoppage time, and it's like, where was this the rest of the game?
I will say Damir Kreilach has actually had a very good season for RSL. For anyone who, not a lot of people feel like pay attention to RSL because they are just a city and a club. I feel like you can just kind of like fly over and not really think about it, especially if they're on that borderline. But if Damir Kreilach has had a good season, this is a good team. Aaron Herrera has been very good this season as well, right? So RSL is a team to definitely pay attention to. And then the one point I wanted to say about NYCFC before we get into the MLSAces season end awards is I'm nervous. I'm nervous. If you guys, this is your first time listening, I'm an NYCFC fan. It's not going to be good. I'm not feeling confident. Keaton Parks is out. He had a blood clot in his lower leg. Hopefully he can just get back healthy for his own sake. Get it right this off season and just get back to being a healthy individual. And Gideon Zalalem, who started on decision day, out with a red card as well. Not great. So it's going to be interesting.
It was a bad tackle too.
Look, at this point, would anybody say in 2021 that Gideon Zalalem is anywhere close to like an 18 player in MLS? Probably not, but here he is. So it is what it is, right? So we'll see. We'll see kind of how Ronnie can maneuver the lineup. I think James Sands will probably be playing a little D mid, Maxi doing Maxi, and then we'll see kind of who Alfredo Morales maybe playing the other center mid spot. I don't know. I'm not feeling too confident right now, but let's dive into kind of wrapping up the MLS season. If you guys don't remember, if this is their first season listening to the MLSAces podcast, last year in 2020 was the first season we gave out like official MLS Aces awards, right? The league has their awards. The league has their MVPs and best 11s. Well, we have ours as well. So this is not the league's official. Just kind of clarifying for everyone, this is ours. And kind of the way voting went is that we have 7 core members of MLS Aces. We all have our group chat and everything like that. And we got all 7 people to give in their official votes for this. So majority rules. If there was any tiebreakers, me as the head of MLS Aces split the tiebreaker. I was the deciding vote. I get final say. Everyone should know that. So if you disagree, then you're disagreeing with the group. You're not disagreeing with an individual. I don't agree with all these final results. And I'm sure you don't agree with all these final results.
I don't even know them all yet. I haven't even looked at the notes yet. So I'll get to disagree with the group live. This is great.
Well, I am going to have you, we're going to alternate awards. Okay. So I'll start and then I'm going to have you read off the opposite award. So let's start with the 2021 MLS Aces Daryl Grove Defender of the Year award. This award is honored to Daryl Grove, the absolute legend in U.S. soccer podcasting and radio, famously a defender for his rec league team. So we are honoring Daryl Grove with this award. The 5 finalists who came down to this award at the end of the 2021 season was Austin Trusty from the Colorado Rapids, Henry Kessler from the New England Revolution, Alex Roldan from the Seattle Sounders, Yeimar from the Seattle Sounders, and Sean Mialis from the New York Red Bulls. And your winner is Yeimar from the Seattle Sounders. The 29-year-old center back had 33 games this season for the Sounders. He was able to score a goal, and he helped the Sounders finish with the, quote-unquote top defense in Major League Soccer, least amount of goals allowed within the league during the year. So congratulations to Yeimar. I feel like we should have like a T-shirt and try to mail it to them, but that's a lot of money and time and effort that I don't really have. So again, if you disagree, agree, please let us know on social media. But that's it. Yeimar is our MLS Aces Defender of the Year.
That one's valid. I'll allow it.
I like it. I wasn't upset with it.
So I guess I'm taking the next one up.
Yes.
We have the 2021 MLS Aces Uncle Sam Nelson Goalkeeper of the Year award.
Wish Sam was here to give his own award out, but it's okay.
I know. Well, I'll do my best for Sam. I can tell you right now, I'm going to disagree with the winner. So the 5
agreed.
The 5 finalists are Matt Turner of the New England Revolution, Carlos Coronel of the New York Red Bulls, Joe Willis, Nashville SC, William Yarborough of the Colorado Rapids, and Tyler Miller of Minnesota United. And the winner, drum roll, is Carlos Coronel, New York Red Bulls. I don't know how that happened.
I think the shutout numbers were just really high for him, and somehow we got a few people not paying attention in the voting. I'm gonna be real honest.
That makes no sense to me. We have a 7 seed squeak into the playoffs team getting a goalkeeper who gets Goalkeeper of the Year.
Made a run.
Shame on all of you.
Shame on the 7 of us who voted. Who would have been your vote, or who was your vote for Goalkeeper of the Year?
Matt Turner. For me, it was Matt Turner.
Mine was Joe Willis. So, I think he's a very good goalkeeper. Had a good year.
Yeah. No, they both have. You can make a solid case. They're both good teams. But for me, Matt Turner. At the end of the day, he's the goalkeeper in goal for the team that has the absolute best record in MLS history.
It's also totally fair.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Yeah.
All right. Goalkeeper of the Year to Carlos Coronel, even though the representations of MLS Aces here on this podcast don't agree with the final vote. So if you want to tear that one apart, please go for it, everyone. The 2021 MLS Aces Coach of the Year award. We don't have any honoree here, so maybe one day we'll find someone to honor.
King of the Carousel. Can we have King of the Carousel?
King of the Coaching Carousel award. I like that for 2022. We gotta remember that one. There is not 5 finalists for this award. There is 3 finalists. You have Robin Fraser from the Colorado Rapids, Hernan Losada sneaking in. I wonder who voted for Hernan Losada from DC United, and Bruce Arena from the New England Revolution. And your winner is I think kind of the similar thought process you had with Matt Turner on, and that is Bruce Arena. He led the Revs to their first ever Supporter Shield and the MLS single season points record during this 2021 season. I think a good shout. Robin Fraser probably could have had a really good shout, but the award goes to Bruce Arena for the record-breaking season, and probably rightfully so in the same exact token there. Any complaints about Arena?
No, not at all. It totally makes sense. Totally deserved. Probably will actually win it in real life. I mean, this is real life. What am I saying?
We're real, Vaughn. Okay.
This is fake life. Bruce Arena, amazing what he's done once again with another franchise. No complaints.
Yeah. Okay. Next award up.
Oh yeah, this is the 2021 MLS Aces Landon Donovan MVP award.
Whoa! It's not we're not official. It's not Landon Donovan.
Okay. the MLS Aces Preki Radosavljevic award.
I love it. We just need you to say that.
There are only 2 finalists.
That's it.
Only 2 guys earning votes here. That's Carles Gil of the New England Revolution and Hani Mukhtar of Nashville SC. And the winner is, from my preseason predictions, Carles Gil. Yes, the correct answer. Carles Gil.
I don't know. So,
we've argued this already.
We've argued this, but things have also changed since that episode, and I legitimately feel like Hani Mukhtar might have more of a legitimate shout now than he did like 4 weeks ago when we argued this.
Now, I'm trying to remember who the 5 finalists are. It's Hani Mukhtar, Carles Gil,
Daniel Shalhoub, Tati Castellanos, and I don't know the 5th.
That's not a good sign that we're forgetting the 5th. But yeah.
I mean, it's someone.
It's someone. And we feel terrible that we don't remember. But right now.
Sorry to whoever it is.
Sorry, whoever you are. But yeah. I will agree. Carles Gil, his numbers started to not look as amazing as the season drew on.
The injuries didn't help.
No, they didn't help. And Hani Mukhtar was very, very consistent throughout the whole year and definitely elevated Nashville. I think if they didn't get so many draws, probably we would be much more seriously handing this to Hani. And that's not really fair to him because, at the end of the day, it's a team sport. And he was the best player on that team. But you shouldn't knock the guy because of the team's end of the day results.
Yeah.
His play on field was good enough this year to be in the conversation and have a legitimate shout for winning the MVP award.
I think if the Revs didn't break the single season record, I think there would be more of an argument for Hani to do it. But at the end of the day, right, Carles Gil was the best player on the all-time best regular season team in MLS history. And at the end of the day, that's going to get you the award, right? 18 assists and 4 goals on the season. Carles Gil completely deserved this award. I'm sorry, Nashville fans, you probably disagree, but that's just how it goes.
João Paulo.
Yeah, that's a fair one. That's probably more fair than Shalhoub or Castellanos at this point. But yeah, it is what it is. The last award is I don't know. I guess it's an award if you're a member of this, but the 2021 MLS Aces Best 11 of the Year. Unlike Extra Time, we are only doing one singular 11. There's 11 spots, and that is it. There's not 18, 22, nope, here's 11 spots. And again, unlike MLS, which I think is very odd that the goalkeeper of the year doesn't have an automatic spot in the best 11. We do that here. The MVP gets an automatic spot in the best 11. The defender of the year gets an automatic spot in the best 11. Just makes sense in my brain, but who am I to say? So this is MLS Aces. I run this ish. That's how we do it. So, goalkeeper of the year, best 11 goalkeeper of the year is Carlos Coronel. Again, just due to the award. I don't think you and I necessarily agree with it, but he is there.
On a technicality.
On a technicality. On the back line, Yamar gets his automatic spot along with his teammate Alex Roldan. The other two spots go to Austin Trusty of the Colorado Rapids and Henry Kessler of the New England Revolution. The midfield, Carlos Hill gets his spot as the MVP of MLS Aces. He gets his spot in the midfield. His backup to the MVP voting, Hani Mukhtar, gets the other spot in that midfield, and Matt Polster, we give a defensive midfield spot in this voting. Matt Polster is in the MLS Aces best 11 at the end of the year.
Everyone else forgot about João Paulo also.
Yeah, we forgot that there. Hey, look, Matt Polster had a very good season. Strong season. The forwards might be the interesting one. On the wings, we have Daniel Shaley, who was probably the best winger, I would say, of the 2021 season, and Tajon Buchanan getting his love. I think he got maybe more of a media push on this one. I don't know if he was the second best winger, but Tajon Buchanan and Daniel Shaley on the wings. And up top is the dude who tied Tati Castellanos in goals scored, but just not in games played. That's why Tati won it officially. But Ola Kamara is your striker of the season. So that is Tajon Buchanan, Ola Kamara, and Daniel Shalhoub. So, Vaughn, is there any big name that you feel like, outside of goalkeeper, because we talked about that one, that you feel like should have a spot on this best 11 that was not given an official spot?
Yeah, João Paulo, okay. the guy that we forgot, everyone forgot. Yeah, no, he was definitely somebody that should be there. Otherwise, no, I think we spread the love pretty good. That's not bad.
Yeah, a lot of red spots, and I get it. But again, when you have the best team in league history for a single season, tough not to give them a ton of spots and a ton of love across the awards.
Yeah, Bo, Buxa, they both had incredible seasons. They probably could have gotten a shout somewhere in here.
For a striker, I voted Bo. Just letting everyone know, I did not vote Castellanos or Kamara, so he would have been my vote there. But it is what it is. That is the official MLS award. So congratulations, everyone. Vaughn, thank you for filling in and being my second showman here and giving some love to some players across the season. If you did win an award, your trophy and T-shirt are on the way. Let's talk about MLS Cup Playoffs, because the season's done. That was the official wrap on the season, was the awards that we gave out. It is postseason time. It's MLS Cup Playoffs. It's the best time of the year. And I'm excited to talk these first round matchups, right? So let's start chronologically. Let's start with Saturday. This Saturday, we have Philadelphia Union hosting the New York Red Bulls and Sporting Kansas City hosting your Vancouver Whitecaps. So I guess I want to start in the West, and we can go with it and just kind of say, how are you feeling? Obviously, you're not feeling super strong about SKC if you're trying to bring the vibes into the podcast realm.
Man, I don't know how I feel. Like I said last week, the real challenge right now as a Sporting fan is that the form is just not there. The team is on a 3-game losing streak, and the positive vibes that they had going, they aren't there right now. This is a team, we talked about Colorado winning the conference, and Seattle and Sporting being up there. In, I don't know, any other season where teams aren't like fighting for record point totals, they all had they were within shouting distance of what would normally be Supporters Shield level clubs in terms of points per game. So Sporting is a team capable of playing at a very high level. And there's going to be a lot of mystery around what's going to happen here, right? Is Alan Pulido going to make it out there? Or is everyone healthy, right? Is Gadi Kinda going to get back out there? Is Shallowy good to go? Is Johnny Russell good to go? On the back line, what's going to happen with Fontas and Isimat Marin? So as a Sporting fan, there's some question marks. There's some nerves. I don't feel real confident going in. I don't feel like this is a team that is, on the trajectory of winning a title. But all it takes is one good result and the belief, and that can all flip and turn around. And that's what Vancouver is on right now, is they are riding a high. Vanni Sartini is a madman, and I love him. Just beautiful, beautiful man. I think anybody who's paying attention to Vancouver and Sartini has fallen in love with him. He is quite the character. He's the kind of guy that you can see why players will just play their hearts out for him.
He's the type of guy who deserves the full-time job.
For sure. And Vancouver, their team right now, they're playing with house money. You know what I mean? They're going to be in the same boat as Colorado. The expectations here, they've already exceeded expectations. They have climbed up the standings, made the postseason. They look like a dangerous team. I mean, we're spending time talking about Brian White and Ryan Gauld. Like, where did this come from? This is insane. And they're the two guys. You know, we're talking about Reynoso and Kevin Molino.
Yep.
Could it be White and Gauld? Sure. Absolutely. It's going to be a very interesting game to see because I think it could go a lot of different ways. I think both teams could blow each other out or it could end up being just a total dogfight and we're going to be going to pens. We'll see what happens.
You said the point that on any day, Sporting Kansas City is the type of team that could beat. Honestly, I think they could beat anyone in the league. You didn't say that. I'm saying I think they could beat anyone in the league on their day if everyone's playing well. And I would normally agree with you on that point, but the form on both of these teams is absolutely, honestly dreadful. The 3 losses in a row, especially to one team not making the playoffs and another team that barely squeaked their way into the playoffs by beating you guys. And with the form that Vancouver has been in, beating good teams, drawing good teams, just making their mark. Like you said, Vancouver's playing with house money right now. They're just going. They're playing off this energy high, and they have no one that's going to stop them on this, right? You have a goalkeeper in net in Maxime Crepeau, who probably deserves some type of shout for MLS Goalkeeper of the Year. Don't think he's going to win it, but deserves some type of shout there. Ryan Gauld has been a Nico Lodeiro-esque signing late to the season for Vancouver, coming on and absolutely exploding this team into success. Brian White has been an absolute, he has been feeding off of Ryan Gauld an insane amount. And if I'm not incorrect, Brian White, 12 goals on the season might be his career high, I think, in a single season. So shout out Brian White for just doing his thing. But then people forget about DeJongme and Caicedo on the wings. Solid wingers. Like, this is a good Whitecaps team that has a lot of talent that people aren't paying attention to. And then, guess what? When your absolute hot striker, Brian White, isn't there, Lucas Cavallini's coming off the bench. El Tanque's coming off the bench. And he is going to be a problem for an injury-prone back line, right? El Tanque is a big dude. And Isimat Marine and Fontas and whoever else they're going to throw back there is going to have to battle with a big dude late in the game, and that's not going to be the easiest thing in the world. We have to make official picks on this podcast. So, Vaughn, I think people can tell listening to this where we're leaning on our official picks, and I don't know why you're going to pick your official pick, if it's for benefiting your own team or if it's your honest opinion, but I got to hear it. Who are you picking, SKC, Vancouver Whitecaps, first round of the playoffs?
Just for consistency, I'm going to go with Vancouver.
Okay. I am also going to go Vancouver getting the upset on the road in round 1 of the MLS Cup playoffs. Now, Philadelphia Union, they are your 2 seed hosting the 7-seeded New York Red Bulls. This is another very interesting game, and I'm going to start off here just by saying a lot of people are calling the Red Bulls a dark horse for this MLS Cup playoffs. I've seen it a lot. I've seen a lot of confidence from guys like Caden Clark, John Tolkien as well, a lot of the younger guys on this team. And I mean, we saw Caden Clark explode at the end of last season into the playoffs last year for the Red Bulls, what he did in a short stint amount of games. So we know Caden Clark's explosivity on the field. Hasn't been getting a lot of starting minutes, and Struber, I think, is really kind of coming into his own managing this team later on in the season, and I'm going to be worried more about them next year. I don't think the Red Bulls this year are that much of a concern. I think they are having a little bit of trouble scoring. Defensively, they are very good. This is a very good team defensively overall, especially for guys who I think in the middle of the season they were trying to find center back replacements like crazy, right? And now they're going in with this form defensively that I think is unmatched right now, or nearingly unmatched within Major League Soccer. I really like this team. Andrew Gutman has enjoyed some time away from FC Cincinnati, playing on a good, solid, sound team. Fabio, I think when he's up top, I know Klimala is their big DP striker, but I really like what Fabio brings to the team. There is no singular superstar on this team, and I think those teams are the most dangerous because you don't know who is going to step up for you. And I think at the same exact time, this team has a game winner in Caden Clark if you bring him on late off the bench. This Red Bulls team is scary. I just don't know if they're scary currently right now against the Union team that is strong as hell, a Union team that has a top 5 player arguably in every single position that you are playing them. Maybe outside of striker might be the only argument against that. But this Union team is scary good. This Union team does not lose to crappy teams, and if they do, they're putting up a hell of a fight against them. I like Kai Wagner putting in an absolute session against this Red Bulls team, doing everything he can to set up the likes of Casper Shabilko, Sergio Santos, whoever it may be. And I think Leon Flack is going to be an absolute midfield destroyer and is going to cause some problems. So I'm going Philadelphia Union in this one.
Yeah, for me, this game is going to be like hungry hippos. Okay.
Yes.
If you listen to anything about these two clubs, they play so similar. They are a high press. I think similarly where you were listing the guys for Red Bulls, Philadelphia is the same way, right? Like you got Shabilko, you got Bedoya, you got Jamiro Montero, you got guys that anybody can be the focal point at a given time, and they all can step up. It's the team is the star, not one player is the star. And I think in this game, more so than in other matchups, I think it's really going to come down to which team wins the 50-50s, the duels. I think the team that ultimately comes out ahead in duels is going to be the team that also gets the result at the end of the game. Because that's going to be the team that just, I said hungry hippos. It's a team that just like that marginal little bit hungrier and gets that one extra ball, the extra touch, and the one extra bounce that goes their way. And I know that's a bit cliche, but in this matchup, there are very, very slim margins between these two teams. And I think for both teams, it could be a real pivot point for their franchises. For Philadelphia, this is a team that has been on a year-on-year rise. And this year, if anything, they took a little bit of a step back because, you went from supporter shield winners to not
place in
but also you watch and all of a sudden they're at the top of the conference at the end of the year, like outside of New England. They were a very, very good team. And so Philadelphia is a team that also is going to be having that nobody's talking about us mentality. And at the end of the day, they are a very, very good team. I agree. Philadelphia is the one that has the edge here. But I think this also could be a trap game. This is absolutely one of those games where it really could be just one bounce going the wrong way and Red Bulls squeaks out a 1-0. But I think you have to go with Philadelphia here at home.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously I agree, right, with my pick, but it wouldn't surprise me, like you're saying, if the Red Bulls come away with the win in this one and squeezing out a win over the Union here. Just the only reason why I'm honestly leaning Union is the veteran leadership, right? People can say like young legs, like the Red Bulls are gonna like do their best to like, outpace everyone on the field for the Union, but when you have guys who have played so many games in this league, like an Andre Blake, like an Ale Bedoya, who or even not even so many games in this league, but even a guy like, I think of like Jose Martinez, right? Like a guy who will be physical enough. Jose Martinez will foul the shit out of Caden Clark and will say, it's like, this is a must win game. Like, get up. Like, I'll take the yellow for not to score that goal. And I don't know. I just really feel confident that the veteran or the experienced players on the Union are going to outperform a dude like a John Tolkien, like Christian Caceres, like a Caden Clark, a Sean Nialis, right? He's been great this season on the back line for the Red Bulls, but he's never played. This is probably the biggest soccer game he's ever played in his entire life. So guys like that who aren't used to this, I'm going to be concerned about, especially again, looking at a guy like Fabio that I said I really like up top. He's never played an MLS Cup playoff game. He's never played this late into the season. I think there's a lot of factors that could kind of steer you away from the Red Bulls into the Union's win here.
Yeah, positionally, I give the edge to Philadelphia. I would take Shabilko over either Fabio or Klimala, and it could come down to the goalkeepers. And at the end of the day, Andre Blake is better than the 2021 Uncle Sam Nelson Goalkeeper of the Year, Carlos Correa.
He is. And Andre Blake didn't even get a damn vote. Damn. All right, let's dive into the Sunday games, and we'll start by picking apart my team, NYCFC hosting Atlanta United. I guess really is this, that both teams have not lost in a while. NYCFC hasn't lost in 5 matches. Atlanta hasn't lost in 6 matches. I think right now on the season, NYCFC holds the advantage in direct matchups by winning 1 and they drew 1. And I like that piece to it. I know in their draw that it had to be a late NYCFC goal to kind of save things to pick up that point. But what concerns me is what we talked about before. No Keaton Parks. There's a red card to Gideon Zalalem. Not that, again, Gideon Zalalem is the difference maker, but we have no Anton Tinnerholm at the same exact time, who we lost mid-season. There is a lot of missing pieces on this NYCFC team, and it's not a great time of the year to be missing a lot of key players, especially a dude, I will just say, kind of go back to this, of Keaton Parks, who I think had a legitimate shout of possibly being a best 11 type player. He's not a goal scorer. He's not an assist driver, but you want to talk about a solid dude playing in the middle of the field. That is Keaton Parks. And, I really think that his presence is going to be the most missed on this team come Sunday. And in saying that, Atlanta United are going to run all over this NYCFC team. I think Atlanta United win on the road 100%. I think Barco is playing very good. Araujo is a fucking stud. And Josef Martinez is scoring goals again. Atlanta United are going to win this game. 1,000%.
I like your tactics here. It could work.
No, what are you talking about?
I will say this. Atlanta has struggled mightily against better teams. And anybody that is in the playoff picture, Atlanta has pretty much struggled against. I think at the end of the day, NYCFC playing at home in the playoffs, getting to play at Yankee Stadium, plays well into their favor. I think that this is a game where it could be close, but I think NYCFC is going to run away with it personally. And I just think that they're the better team at the end of the day. But like you said, Atlanta has the firepower. They could come out and flip that on its head very, very quickly. But I'm not expecting that. I really think NYCFC, the stadium and the field suits them. The home crowd is going to cheer them on. I think everything's trending NYCFC's way in this matchup.
I wouldn't say everything. I think players wise, a few missing pieces isn't definitely trending our way, but I can understand what you're saying for sure. I just think that you let like Araujo or Marcelino Moreno or Barco kind of feed Josef Martinez early, and they start getting some shots on goal early, and an early goal somehow squeaks through or whatever it may be. I think that could be really bad news for this NYCFC team.
See, but Atlanta's style is so reliant on space.
It is. Yes.
Transition. And at NYCFC at Yankee Stadium, that is the hardest field to get any transitional play in. right? Like your transition is your goalkeeper knocking it into the other team's 18. Like, I just don't see Atlanta getting to play their style here. And NYCFC is going to be able to dictate tempo, dictate style, and being the home team, they're probably going to dictate possession. And you don't have to worry about a Josef Martinez if Atlanta doesn't have the ball. And Atlanta's defense, I am not as, comfortable with Atlanta's back line being able to lock up the bevy of NYCFC attackers. Tati Castellanos is in form. I think he's a guy that can be a difference maker and could very easily end up with 5 goals in 3 playoff games. And if that's the case, and NYCFC can make a deep run, it's going to be because a guy like Tati puts it on his shoulders. And right now, from form, I think he could be that guy.
Look, I'm not saying NYCFC. I was kidding before and I said Atlanta United run all over NYCFC. I don't think it's going to run all over. NYCFC have won 10 games at home this year. They have done well against Atlanta. They do have very good players right now. I think Atlanta is just a concerning team to me, but I guess that's also what you get when you finish near the middle of the pack. You play another team around your skill level, right? So I think this one is going to be close. I am picking Atlanta on the road. I do just think Atlanta just have a little bit of that spark right now that I like them to score some type of fucking wonder goal. Josef hits this thing off a corner, or Barco hits some free kick that just goes flying in, and we see NYCFC in the playoffs again, losing in miraculous fashion. Let me just remind everyone of Rodrigo Schlegel in 2020.
Well, and Gonzalo, NYCFC does have a record of blowing it in the postseason, and Gonzalo Pineda does have a history of deep runs in the postseason.
Yeah, again, this is just me venting as an NYCFC fan. Rodrigo Schlegel last season, Ronald Matarrita 2 years ago, and then I think 3 years ago was an absolute demolishing from TFC in the playoffs. Like NYCFC, we rotate managers and we just shit the bed in the playoffs. That's what we do. I'm just waiting for it this year. It's gonna happen. But let's move on.
It's so metro. Like anything in the New York metro area, teams hit the playoffs and it's just calamity.
You just pissed off some Red Bull fans there too. Just letting you know.
Yeah, I know, double whammy. It felt good.
Yeah, there you go. Let's look at the other Western Conference game. And this Sunday is the Portland Timbers hosting the Minnesota United Loons. I don't know why I said but it's the Loons are being hosted this Sunday by the Portland Timbers. Both teams are in a little bit of, I would say, maybe a mix of form. I know the Timbers have won 3 straight, but some losses kind of building up before that. Minnesota, I feel like never really just finding their footing this season. Vaughn, I'm going to start with you. I guess, what are your thoughts when you're looking at this game from the jump? Who sticks out to you right now?
Both of these teams scare the absolute crap out of me. Because I think they are both going to be those teams that are like a lower seed that can make a very deep run. Both of these teams have shown the ability to play well in postseason formats in the past, whether it's an MLS's back tournament or it's the MLS Cup Playoffs. Both these teams have been able to make deep runs and have guys step up, and they just know how to win this time of year. And kind of outperform expectations. Portland, I think I said it at the start of the year, this feels a little bit like their last hurrah, right? You got Chara, you've got Valeri, you got Blanco coming back from injury. This feels like this era and age of Portland, the window is not very large. So their weakness is on the defensive side. So if they can, same thing, dictate tempo, dictate possession, this is one of those games, it could very easily be a 3-3 result and back and forth sort of thing. I think this is a game everybody's going to want to tune into because it could go a lot of different ways. Yeah. I like both of these teams to make runs in the playoffs because they have game changers, just period. And for Minnesota, same
on that
thing.
Point real quick. On
Yeah.
that point, real quick, who in your brain is Portland's game changer at this point?
Blanco, and any free kick is a potential goal.
Fair. Okay.
Crunch time. All he's got to do is make a couple dribbles and get it onto his right foot, and he's the closest thing to a Vela-esque player outside of Vela. Like I think he's the kind of guy that when he's in form and playing at that level. I mean, guy was MLS MVP level player prior to his
Yeah.
injury, and he's looking like he could do it again.
The only thing that just concerns me is the injury history, is the age right now at 33. I'm not saying that at 33 you're dead, like you're done as a player, like none of that. But I just think that right now he is at a risk of exiting any game at any moment, in my opinion.
He could also be the guy that lights the dynamite stick that takes them, to the next round.
1,000%, but Minnesota have a pretty good one in their own right too that will light some sticks. Yeah.
Reynoso.
I'm thinking Reynoso, but yeah.
Well, yeah, Reynoso, but I think Fragapane, he's been electric for stretches here down the stretch.
Yeah.
Hunu has been a guy that has been able to find a couple goals. That's what I'm saying. These teams scare me because Portland, they got a goal this last week from Nijgoda. I mean, these guys, they have offensive weapons, right?
Yeah.
Like this isn't where we were talking about Vancouver, where it's like it's one guy, or man, Philadelphia, who's going to be the guy that steps up? Red Bulls, who's going to be the guy that steps up? No, for both of these guys, Minnesota and Portland have so many threats going forward, and both teams can score from seemingly nothing. Like they don't even need to have good build-up play, and all of a sudden there's going to be a game-changing goal-scoring chance.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a lot of teams that consistently get those performances, especially in clutch time. Portland, they got Dyron Espria. God knows what that's going to end up being.
Hey.
That's why I'm saying these two teams, they just so scare me. I don't know how you even predict what's going to happen here. Same thing for me. I'm going home team again. I might be doing a full home team sweep. I don't know. I'm not paying attention anymore. I'm blacking out. But Portland here, yeah.
So this one honestly might have been the toughest pick for me so far of these games, just because I agree that these teams do play. They're playing very similar right now. They both have game winners. They both have MLS veterans. They both have talented youngsters. They both have people coming back from injuries that I feel like could be some game changers in their own right? The only thing that scares me is that I think you could argue over the course of the entire 2021 season, the Timbers' best player has been Daryl Espria. I think there's an argument for that he is, and he's been very good. But typically, we only see Daryl explode onto the scene towards the playoffs. Is he burning his fuse too quick, playing over the entire season, MLS Cup Playoffs Daryl, and not actually saving that for the playoffs? But no, in all seriousness, the Timbers' age concerns me, and I know I said a few games ago that the Union's age is the thing that's going to put them over the top. I just feel like the Timbers' age is a little different. Like Blanco's 33, Valeri's 34, and I think Chara is 35 or 34 in his own right. Like these are guys who do have a lot of minutes on their legs, who do have notable injury concerns over the past 1 to 2 seasons as well. And that's just one thing that concerns me. I do like the fact that Felipe Moore has been scoring all season long. Nijgoda is coming back. Daryl Espria has been hot. The other Chara brother has been having a very good season in his own right. But the back line, again, is just another major concern that I know you brought up. I like this team. I would just like this team a lot more if Eric Williamson was in the midfield. That's just my only piece there. So I'm going with the away side mainly because I think Reynoso has been very good. He has been a player who I think has been wildly under talked about, especially towards the second half of the season for Minnesota. And I think just because Minnesota hasn't been at the top of the West, people aren't really talking about them and him. But between Hunau, however you say his name, Fragapane, and Robin Lod, I think the goals are going to come from somewhere. And especially if Reynoso is setting them up, he is just going to be the LeBron James for this Minnesota side, right? Everyone he's touching is just playing at this insane level. And I think in playoff time, he knows especially how to put the pedal to the metal too. I like Minnesota on the road in this one, but this one is maybe the closest game, I think, of the opening weekend games for sure. So anything else about that one before we move on to the final two games, the Tuesday games?
Nope. Let's go to them.
So Nashville hosting Orlando City. Do you want me to take this one first, or do you want to take it?
I don't even know. You can take it. You start, and I'll see if I can figure out how to follow.
Nashville is unbeaten in 18 home games. In their last 18 home games, Nashville is unbeaten. Yes, are there a shit ton of draws in those home games? Yes. So at the end of the day, someone has to be that game winner to put them over the edge to really make sure that they're locking down that win at home instead of the draw. And I think they have that in Hani Mukhtar. We've obviously talked about him plenty on this podcast, being the runner-up in the MLSAces MVP award voting, but also probably in the actual MLS MVP award voting as well to Carles Hill. I think Hani Mukhtar has combined for 20 plus goals and assists on the season as well. And the way that Gary Smith has been able to set up this lineup to put Hani Mukhtar in a place for success, also setting up Randall Leal to be in a place of success. CJ Sapong scoring over 10 goals this season, and at the same exact time playing very sound defense. I know the defense hasn't really been there the last 5 or so games, but really playing sound defense for a majority of the season. I don't think there is much of any way for even a 35-year-old Nani to step onto this field and be a spark plug to get Orlando City over Nashville at home. I know DK has been playing well. I know, the countless attacking pieces that this Orlando City squad has, and Orlando City has been a good team. They just haven't been a great team, where I feel like Nashville, we've talked about all season long, as a great team. And I think that's the key difference is Nashville's success, their success at home, and Hani Mukhtar. I think that's it. I think Nashville takes it. This was one of my easier picks, I feel like. But this is also a Southern rivalry. But Vaughn, I'll let you take over.
This is my hot take of the whole thing. I honestly think this game could be the one that decides MLS Cup. And I say that because I think Nashville is the team that is built best for taking out New England. They are a team that is very, very difficult to break down and doesn't really know how to lose. And they've shown it over 2 years. This is a team that in their sophomore season, right, we haven't seen any slump. We've seen other teams in their second year, LAFC, Atlanta United, go all the way. And I think Nashville is a team that is built in a way that they could make that run. I think that their inability to lose at home, like you mentioned, that they're just a sound team. They just are built really well to play together, and that they have Mukhtar playing at the level that he is, that he can be that difference maker for them. They're a team that, right? It's like you look at the numbers and you're like, hey, they've never lost all season at home. So naturally, this is going to be the one they're going to lose at home, right? Like that's how this works.
100%.
But it's so hard to look at them. And no discredit to Orlando. Orlando, same sort of thing. I think they underperformed expectations a bit. I think they could have had a stronger season. They've had guys that haven't performed up to level. Nani's dropped off. We don't have Mueller playing how well he was. DK, of course, has come on like wildfire. But I think that you look at a matchup head-to-head, if there's a guy that's going to neutralize Daryl DK, Walker Zimmerman is the prototypical central defender to lock down a Daryl DK. I just think, and that's why I said that this game decides it for me, is if Orlando, if they're the kind of team, because I think that Orlando is better built to beat Nashville than if Philadelphia or Red Bulls runs into them in the next round.
Yeah.
Right. So to me, if Nashville wins this, they make the conference finals. And if they make the conference finals, I think the two best teams left over are them and New England.
I think that's completely fair, right? Nashville, they're a very good team, and I think if people pick Orlando in this game, I think they're wrong, right? I think, like you said, Orlando is a very good matchup for this Nashville team, but I think at the end of the day, this Nashville team just has just a little too much for this Orlando team to compete with. Walker Zimmerman is a great point. Walker Zimmerman is one of the best center backs in this league. He's had another very good season. He knows Daryl DK from national team camp. If anyone is going to lock up Daryl DK, it is going to be Walker Zimmerman. At the same exact time, on this back line, you have Alistair Johnson, who's been playing very good, who's having a nice run with Canada as well. And I feel like between these two teams, you could go like piece for piece, right? You could be like Gallese, you can be like, oh, Joe Willis, you can say Juan, you can say Alistair Johnson, you can say Walker Zimmerman, Antonio Carlos, right? You can go down the list, and these teams are very evenly matched. But I think the one thing that just separates it, right, is, to me, I keep going back to it, but it's Hani Mukhtar. Like, you can't sit back and like not notice what he has done and what he has allowed for everyone else to kind of unlock in front of him. CJ Sapong, 12 goals on the season is ridiculous. And I think at this point, I don't know if I would have picked CJ Sapong to start the season to have 10 plus goals. But Hani Mukhtar being that good and creating and setting up and taking a lot of notice to himself has allowed a dude like CJ Sapong to do that, right? I really like this team overall. I think Nashville could be an MLS Cup this year, even with the Revs playing like they've played. We know Supporter Shield winning teams don't always do that well in the playoffs. Nashville might be that team representing the East, and I like that pick, Vaughn. I like that pick a lot. That this is a deciding game for sure.
Yeah, I think you don't. It's weird to look at it that way, but to me, really, it's that important of a game.
Without a doubt, agree. Let's get to the final game, and I think maybe the easiest game to pick of the entire opening weekend. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm overestimating it. But the Seattle Sounders hosting Real Salt Lake, again, kind of going back to the beginning of the pod, or kind of talking about Decision Day a little bit. RSL squeezing into the playoffs with the Damir Kreilach bicycle assist, and Seattle Sounders kind of limping their way into the MLS Cup playoffs as well. Not on the best of form either there. So what I really like about this RSL team, and I want to give them their love first because I'm picking the Sounders, just saying that. But what I want to say about this RSL team is a little bit of a repeat of what I said before, and that Damir Kreilach has been the best player on this team all season long. He has had a very good season, and I think he is getting into a little bit of form now too, which I really like. I really like the three-man back that they've kind of transitioned into towards the second half of the season as well. I really like what Aaron Herrera has done, playing a third center back instead of playing either right back, left back, wherever you want to kind of place him there. And this team has a lot of young, exciting, fun pieces, right? You can talk about Bobby Wood too, Woohoo, all that stuff. But I just really think at the end of the day, mine just blanked. Albert Rusnak, Damir Kreilach, and Aaron Herrera are not enough to stop what Seattle has with Joao Paulo, with Jordan Morris coming back, with Yeimar, Alex Roldan, Christian Roldan, Rui Diaz. If Ladero plays, whoever is lining up for the Seattle Sounders team is just a much better player than what RSL could throw out on the field. Brian Schmetzer is one of the best coaches in this league. He has won in this league. He knows what it takes to get to an MLS Cup. He is not going to let the 7-seed Real Salt Lake team get the best of him in this one. Sounders all the way.
Yeah, the only way RSL wins this one is if David Ochoa's overinflated big head just plugs the goal. Because that guy, I hate that guy.
No, you love Ochoa.
Ochoa, he is something. I hope that there's just so much shithousery in this game. Like that's real. This is the game of chaos. This is the one that I hope just like goes ballistic for everyone's sake. But yeah, Seattle, you know what? I'm going to do some reverse psychology here. Every single year, I write them off. I cast doubt, and they find a way to MLS Cup, right? Four of the last 5. Is that right? I don't even. I've lost track.
Yeah.
Something like that. So are they going to make it 5 of 6? Yeah, sure. Yeah, they are my favorite to make MLS Cup this year. I'm just putting all of my energies towards that belief for obvious reasons.
For obvious reasons.
For obvious reasons. But yeah, no, Seattle. All jokes aside, they're the better team here. They should take care of business, and they will probably get through this game.
I think more than likely they would. I guess the hopes I want to give to RSL is that they have split the results on the season. Seattle beat RSL earlier in the season during the summer 2-1. RSL did beat the Sounders 1-0. That was at home though for RSL, but Seattle hasn't won a game in six games, and they also haven't kept the clean sheet in 7 games. So maybe that's a little bit of a spark for RSL to try to find something, right? Try to find something in this one. But
the door's open, but RSL's playing once again with house money, borrowed time. They should not be here. Right now.
It's different.
RSL should not be here. Like if there's one team that made the postseason that shouldn't be there, it's RSL.
And I would have loved to see Galaxy Sounders in this one. Would have been a much better game.
I agree. And for the league, I'm sure the league wanted it too.
Sure, yeah. Start that off.
Yeah. RSL, it's great what they did. It's great that they got that late result, that they have that, little gnat, fighting, biting, annoying the crap out of you. Yeah. That's what I think RSL is. To me, that's what they are. They're like a little annoying bug that just is zipping around you. And maybe they can be that for Seattle.
We're going to turn around next week and talk how RSL won like 3-0 and they're like MLS Cup favorites, but it's fine. It's fine. The last thing that I want to talk about on this podcast is just quickly talking about overall the USMNT's last World Cup qualifying window and just high-level points of the last World Cup qualifying window in general. And I don't even want to start with the USMNT. I want to start with how Canada just went out and put the smackdown on Mexico in the Azteca. Greatest name ever, and I think CONCACAF history right there is the Azteca. And we have to go to the Azteca next qualifying window. I'm nervous as hell about that. But Canada right now undefeated, leading CONCACAF World Cup qualifying. I mean, I put up a poll the other day on Twitter. What's more surprising, that Mexico lost 2 in a row to the U.S. and then to Canada, or that Canada's undefeated in World Cup qualifying? Everyone gave their votes to Canada. So shout out the Canadians because this is an incredible run that they're on right now.
Yeah, all credit to them. Same sort of thing. They're a team just playing with high energy and house money. It's like go in and anything can happen. They believe in themselves. They have real talent. They have real depth. And they have a belief that they can go up against a team like Mexico and take care of business. I love that we had Azteca.
Yes.
I was jokingly, so I guess we didn't explicitly say it. People that know you from Twitter know that you just got engaged. So congratulations. Yes. Throwing it in here now. I was going to make a whole joke about like Jason, Sam, and I need to write your like vows. There need to be something in there about like, loving you from Azteca to Azteca. Like,
I like it.
There's something there. There's something that I'll work on it. We're all going to prepare our best man speeches. It's fine.
Got it. Well, I'm excited to hear that. That's something you have to have ready soon. I want to hear it soon.
Oh my gosh. But in all reality, yeah, Canada, that they're sitting top of the table right now is considering where they were at. If they had stuck with the rules of the Hex, and that they'd already be out of the conversation. They've turned things around and are fighting like mad. And once again, the energy they got, the bite, the belief, the going up against Mexico. I mean, Mexico doesn't look like Mexico right now, right? Like this window was atrocious for them. I'm curious to see how things shake out over the back half of this qualification.
So with Canada, I mean, like you said, the energy's there. It kind of reminds me of like USMNT-esque of like a few cycles ago, right? Where maybe the full talent across the entire 11 isn't there. You have a few stars, right? You look at Davies and David, and Kyle Larin. I think he's definitely the third biggest star on that team. But you look at like that type of fight that they have, and it's incredible. Like it's so much fun to watch. I have no horse in the race with Canada, but I'm rooting for Canada. If they're not playing the US, I'm rooting for Canada to go out and just win, because it is so much fun seeing it. We mentioned Alistair Johnston before. Sam Adekugbe, their left back or left wing back, wherever he's playing in that formation, he's playing out of his mind as well. I love this Canada team. They're so much fun to watch. They're just kind of just doing it, right. And like that's at the end of the day what all you can hope for with your national team. Especially at the end of the day, I still want to give them their credit that they have a ton of talent, and they probably are the third best team talent wise, but they're playing like number one because of that belief, and I love it. So shout out Canada. And Mexico, like you mentioned, a 0-point window, back-to-back losses to the US, to Canada. They're not playing like themselves. I'm honestly surprised Tata Martino still has a job. And I know I said it as a joke earlier, but 3 losses to the US in one calendar window, a draw at home to Canada, and a loss to Canada on the road in World Cup qualifying. I don't even know how Tata has a job right now.
I'd agree. I mean, he doesn't have anybody stepping up to the plate and just taking the bull by the horns, right? And when I say that, I mean they just don't have a game changer, right? And Ochoa, he's getting older, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't look like vintage Ochoa. This is a team that doesn't look like themselves. When we were talking about Canada, I was going to say that, you talked about how they look almost like US from a couple windows ago. And I started thinking, like, you're talking cycles. Like, to me, they look like 2006, 2010 US men's national team, where, like, no, you have this generational talent. You have these guys that are going to be around and be the foundation of the national team for the next 2 World Cup cycles. And you have this belief in what's happening of, like, this is our time, right? We can go up against anyone and we can compete now. We are that good. We can compete. That's what I think about Canada, and Mexico is going the opposite direction. Right now,
it's an old
they
team.
used to be that team that was, we can go up and we can compete against anyone. We saw in the last World Cup, right? Like, they went and we thought they might make it all the way to the semifinals. No, they are at the point right now where they go in against teams that they expect to beat, and they're not beating them. And this is a team, they're sitting in third, right now.
Yeah.
They don't look like it. They're going to be fine. I mean, at the end of the day, they're okay. Like, Tata Martino is going to survive. Mexico's going to survive. The sky's not falling as much as it is.
As much as I want to believe it is.
Well, no, I think the Mexican Federation should look to the U.S. and keep Tata, because otherwise they're going to go through the same thing the U.S. went through in the last cycle.
Yeah.
If you fire Tata right now, you're giving up on everything, right? It would be a gut reaction sort of move, and I don't think that's the right thing to do in World Cup qualifying. The U.S. did it, and then you end up with Dave Sarakan leading you, for 3 years later. Like,
yeah,
you bring in Bruce Arena. Yeah, you have a stopgap guy. You don't want a stopgap guy right now.
No,
it's just not what you should do.
I think Mexico obviously makes the World Cup. I think they're fine. I think they let Tata finish out the World Cup qualifying cycle. And maybe if you want to bring in a new manager right after the cycle, you do that. I think you kind of let Tata manage the World Cup and then move on after that. But how honestly crazy would it be if they pull an us and they miss the World Cup? Like, their next game is against Panama. Panama right now are tied with points right them, sitting in 4th place. Panama's a good team. Like, they've been playing well. If Panama somehow pull out a victory against this Mexico team in the next cycle, I don't know. I'm kind of
Well,
getting
Tata will be gone if they drop any further in the standings. No doubt about that. But I still think it would be the wrong call. I think they've got to ride it out through the cycle.
well, in kind of conjunction with that, obviously USMNT. I've said it about 3 times now. We defeated Mexico 2-0, 2-0 in Cincinnati. Goals coming from Christian Pulisic and now another very famous celebration against Mexico, which I am absolutely loving these celebration pile-ups. And Weston McKennie tacking on a second goal to make sure we got that W. And then the U.S. coming out with the second game in the window, going away to Kingston, Jamaica, and drawing 1-1. The goal against us was an absolute screamer from Mikel Antonio. No one's saving that. Matt Turner's not saving it. Zach Steffen's not saving it. Horvath, Sean Johnson, whoever you want to say, not saving that. So anyone who's going at Steffen for that, that's ridiculous. But we come away with the draw. A little lack of energy. I feel like a big kind of let off from the Mexico game. But at the end of the day, 4-point window. Mexico 0-point window. Canada 6-point window. I mean, that was a good 2-game span, I think, overall.
I said going in, right? Like 3 points, good. 4 points plus gravy, right? We got results in both games. And quite frankly, we won the one that was probably more important to win. So yeah, I think it's a cycle where you're going to have fans that are salty and are like, man, we should have beaten Jamaica. CONCACAF is hard. Like it's not an easy thing to just you're not going to win them all. You're going to have some adversity you have to face. And the U.S. getting 4 points here, I think is job accomplished. They're on the right path. They're on the right trajectory. They're getting enough done. I think also Greg Berhalter made the selections that a lot of people in U.S. men's national team fandom were calling for. So yes. I think at the end of the day, the U.S. men's national team is doing what they have to do. Are they, just running roughshod over everyone and walking away with 3-0 results? No. But are they having games that are exciting? Are they having games that, even when they're having a down game, that they're getting results for the most part, by and large? Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is a team that, once again, what were they heading into this window? I said 16-2-2 in the year. So
yes,
they're,
I think so.
Or I don't remember what they're sitting at, but it's something absurd. Like they've got 2 losses on the year. Like this is a team that's doing fine. They're doing good. They got 4 points, successful window, and let's keep it going in the next window and let's get the job done and qualify.
Yeah, I mean, look, you said it perfectly. I'm not even going to tack on any more to that. You said it absolutely perfectly right there. We're overall, as of today, we are 16-2-3. So 16 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses, 3 draws. They do it opposite from MLS. I apologize. But this is an absolutely, I think, great time for the USMNT. I think we're playing well. We're not dominating, but we're playing well. We're getting the results when we get to. If we drew 1-1 to Jamaica at home somewhere in the U.S., I'd be more upset than a road draw. But at the end of the day, that Antonio goal was still ridiculous. So that was cool.
Well, and once again, we're also not playing with our choice 11, right?
Yeah,
I think come World Cup time, when you're able to have, assuming health, Pulisic, McKennie, Reyna, Adams, Dest,
Robinson,
Weah, when all of those guys can be out there at the same time.
Yeah.
We cannot judge what happened in Jamaica for what that team is going to be. And I think that's the thing to keep in mind, is that at the end of the day, we have generational talent, that this is the foundation. This is the start. This is we've got 3 if I count this cycle, 3 cycles of these players developing and growing into it. And I think where we're at is a good spot for that end goal of improving the national team.
And we didn't lose an Ice Teka. That's the number one goal. But it's been an hour and 30 minutes for the podcast listeners, for the show watchers and listeners. Thank you guys for rocking with us for an hour and 30 minutes. It has been a great episode back. It's been a mind clearing episode for me, Vaughn. Like you said, I got engaged, so my mind has been everywhere. So this has been wonderful. I'm excited to jump back next week. I'm going to say this for the people who have gotten this far in the episode: stay tuned to social media and Twitch and YouTube for us. I may have a few interviews dropping over the next few days leading up into the USL Championship semifinals, USL League One final, NWSL final. I may be trying to pull some strings to get some conversations in with some folks playing in those games. So stay tuned to the social medias at MLS Aces, and we will talk to you guys next week. Vaughn, yeah, what's up?
And keep your eyes peeled for Tom's registry at Soccer 90 and Added Time Outfitters.
Yes, both of those, Added Time Outfitters and Soccer 90. My wedding registry is on there. If you guys want to get me a nice gift, all on there, or get it for yourself. Promo code MLS Aces on both of them. Thank you guys, and peace out.